Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Build It Right. I'm TJ.
I'm Anitra.
And we built a mantle for our cabin.
He built a mantle. I just pointed at it and said make that a mantle.
Well, anyway, if you want to see the actual video of how we went from a tree to this, that will play right after we get done talking about it. We just want to tell you a little bit about this mantle and why it's special to us.
Yeah, so the story of the trees. We've owned this property for about 8.5 years now. The very first time TJ was mowing, I went for a little walk on the trail, found my favorite spot, and there were these two trees that I called the trees in love. TJ is going to include a picture of them, so you'll get to see them. It basically was two trees that were all twisted together, kind of made one tree. So I don't know whether to call it trees or tree. But I loved that tree, those trees, and I visited it, took pictures of it throughout the years, and then we had a storm last summer that took them both down. So I pretty much cried. And then TJ said,
let's try to turn it into something for our cabin.
Yeah.
So we did, and there it is.
Yes, so it's very special.
So that's our story about that. Like I said, if you want to see it, I'll play it right after this. And at the end of the video, if you had fun watching it, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and enjoy. Okay guys, so you can see behind me, that's a pile of logs. This was all storm damage from earlier this year. Now having a backyard like this is freaking awesome, but when a storm does come through, it's a lot of work to clean it up, and I'm not one that can just let these logs lay on the ground and rot away. I gotta do something with them. So we're gonna take one of these, cut it a little bit smaller, and try to make ourselves a fireplace mantle. Stick around. So I bought this little Alaskan sawmill behind me, and we're gonna see if it works. Okay, so there it is. I think it's kind of pretty. We'll flip it over and do the other sides and see what we can make out of this thing. I got my two sides squared up, and it's actually I'm really impressed with that thing. I hold the square on there and it is almost perfect. Obviously I'm gonna have to plane this thing down to get it perfect, but this is a good start, so we'll keep going. All right, so we're back at the shop. We're just finishing up, getting it all squared up how I like it. I gotta run it through a couple more times. We're gonna try to knock these edges off and try to make it look somewhat rustic. Find out. All right, so we're all squared up. That thing is absolutely perfect. So, you can see I had to do a little bit of fixing right here. I had a chunk missing out a bit, and I added a board to the back side. That's just to bring it out a little bit because this is all covered with stone on the fireplace. Okay, so the corners, I'm just going to use a 45-degree angle router bit. I'm just going to try to run in and out a couple times just to try to give it a somewhat rustic look. I'm sure a real professional that does this every single day would take like a wood chisel and do it, and it would look just perfect. I'm afraid if I tried that, it'd look like total crap. Not saying that this is gonna make it look any better, but there's only one way to find out. Okay, so I think that turned out okay. I won't really know until it's finished, but You notice I left 2 square spots here and 2 square spots here. It's because I'm going to take a piece of 2-inch metal strap and run around it. I just didn't want a big hole behind them. So anyway, that's about it as far as building this thing. Just going to start sanding, and we'll throw a coat of stain on it and see what it looks like. Okay, so now we just sand for a couple hours and see how it works. Had a few hours to dry, and now we're going to get it prepped and ready for varnish. Check it out. I think it looks pretty. Even these little spots that I fixed here, I think that looks kind of neat too. There we go, second coat sprayed on. Check it out. Good morning, guys. So, today, this is what I'm going to use for the strap that goes around the mantle. It's 2 inches by 1/8 inch. We'll take and cut it. Size of the mantle, we'll bend it around, and then we'll weld the seams together, sand them smooth. And we're going to add some like fake looking rivets. I'm just going to use these little carriage bolts, and you see they got writing on them. So that's the first thing we got to do is sand all that off, because it's all in the detail.